Let's be real, when most people think about building wealth, they think about investing in stocks, buying crypto, or maybe even starting a business. But what if I told you one of the most underrated ways for building wealth wasn't flashy at all? It's called having a high yield savings account. Yeah, I get it, not the most exciting thing, but once you actually understand how it works and how to use it, well, it becomes one of those little moves that can have a big impact. I'm Alex, and in this video, I'm breaking down why high yield savings accounts are so important and how they're different from regular savings accounts. Also, how you can start using them to build real wealth even if you don't have a lot of money. All right, let's start with the basics. What even is a high yield savings account? Basically, it's like a regular savings account, but it pays you way more interest. When I say pays you interest, I mean the bank literally pays you extra money just for keeping your money in there. You can think of it like a sort of thank you bonus the longer that you leave it in the account. Most traditional banks only give you about a 0.01% APY. That means if you have $1,000 sitting there for a year, you're only gonna make 10 cents. Yeah, I know, not even enough to buy my daily Starbucks order. And if you're confused, APY just means how much extra money the bank gives you for keeping your money in your account for over a year. So if you put in $100 and the APY is 4%, you'd have $104 without having to do anything. With a high yield savings account, we're talking about 4% or even 5% APY depending on the provider. So that $1,000 that I talked about earlier could earn you an extra $40 to $50 depending on the APY. I know it might not sound like a lot or it might not sound life-changing, but once you stack it up over time and you constantly keep putting more money in, it starts to add up. And the best part is there's zero risk. You're not gambling your money like you would, say, in the stock market. Your money's just sitting there quietly working for you in the back. So why does this matter? Because most people keep their money in checking accounts that earn them absolutely nothing. Or worse, they keep it in a traditional savings accounts at one of the big banks, where the money earns close to nothing and the bank flips it, invests it, or loans it out to make billions. Think about that. You're basically handing your money to the bank for free and they turn around and make money off of your money, and what do you get out of it? Nothing. It's kind of like that one friend that always hits you up for a ride. So switching to a high yield savings account is basically saying, hey, I want my money to be accessible, but I still want to get paid and make money for keeping it in there. All right, now let's talk about why this actually helps you build wealth, because you're probably thinking, cool, I make a couple extra bucks a year, but that's not really wealthy. But what you have to understand is wealth is built in layers, okay? It's not about making one big move. It's about consistently making smart moves over time. So let's say you keep $10,000 in a high yield savings account that has 4.5% APY. That's an extra $450 at the end of the year. Come on, you can't tell me you don't want an extra $450. And remember, that's without doing anything at all, just for having the money sit in there. So imagine you keep your money there year after year and the interest keeps compounding. That's compounding growth, and that's what leads to real wealth. So let's talk about how I personally use a high yield savings account. I don't use it as a long-term investment. I look at it and I personally think of it like a parking lot. I know that might be a little out of the blue, but stay with me. I keep my emergency fund in there. That way, if anything unexpected happens, I can quickly access it and I don't have to go into my other investments. I also use it for short-term savings, stuff like upcoming trips or goals that are coming in the next few months. To me, it's like a holding tank, and just for sitting there, it's making me money for existing. It also helps me save money because I'm less tempted to spend it. So if you're like me, this could be very useful for you. One platform that I recommend checking out is called SoFi. It works a lot like a regular savings account where you put your money in, it's safe, and you can access it at any time. But the big difference is how much you earn. SoFi pays 3.8% APY, which is almost 4%, like I was talking about a little bit earlier. So this means that you're getting paid way more for just keeping your money in there. Because like I said a little bit earlier, traditional banks only give you a 0.01% APY, which is literally nothing. One of the features that people really like about SoFi is that you can organize your savings into different vaults for different goals. So this is super cool if you're somebody who likes to stay organized. Another cool option that they have is automatic deposits, so it can always be growing. If you want to try SoFi for yourself, I dropped a SoFi link in the description for you. It's free to join, and if you deposit some cash, you could earn a nice bonus just for moving some of your savings over. Now, I know this isn't some flashy TikTok side hustle like dropshipping, but think about it like this. If you're trying to build a house, also known as your wealth, you need a solid foundation. And that's exactly what a high yield savings account builds. It builds a solid foundation. It's low risk, it keeps your money liquid, and it quietly builds over time. Too many people wait until they're ready to invest to do anything with their money. But to be honest, you don't need to be ready. You can start today and you can start small, but you just have to get started as soon as possible. So where do you open up one of these high yield savings accounts? Here are a few places that offer high yield savings account with around a 4% APY. So the first one is going to be SoFi. It's super user friendly, easy to set up. It has a nice interface on the app, and that's the one that I personally recommend. Ally Bank is also another trusted source with really great customer service and a really solid APY. Marcus by Goldman Sachs is also a good choice. They offer strong interest rates and no monthly fees. If you already have a savings account with a big bank like Chase, Bank of America, or Wells Fargo, I'd say it's time to move on. You can keep your checking account there, that's totally fine, but move your savings over so that your money can start making you more money. When you're choosing a high yield savings account, here's what to look for. The first thing I look for is the APY. The higher the APY, the more money that you'll earn. The second thing that I look for is that there's no monthly fees, because you shouldn't have to pay money to save your own money. Just doesn't make sense. Third is a big one. It's FDIC insurance. That means that your money is protected up to $250,000 if the bank ever goes out of business or loses your money. So this one's a very important one. And the last one is ease of use. To me, that means a few things: a clean mobile app or website, fast transfers, and no outdated tech that makes things harder than they need to be. As a big overthinker myself, my advice would be just pick one that checks all of those boxes and get started as soon as possible. A personal tip for me is once you open a high yield savings account, don't just let it sit empty. Set up automatic deposits, even if they're not big, even if it's $10 to $50 a week or a month, just start automatically depositing it in there, because you'll get into the habit of doing it and it'll stack up over time. I like to think about it like a bill, but instead of paying somebody else, you're paying your future self. That's how you start building momentum and stacking your money in the background without even thinking about it. Just set it, forget it, and let it work. Now let's run through a few quick questions that people always ask. Is your money safe in a high yield savings account? Yes, if it's FDIC secured, which most of them are. Your money's protected up to $250,000 per account. Can you lose money? Nope, these accounts don't go down like stocks. It's just interest that builds up over time. Will the interest rates always stay the same? Not exactly. Rates can go up or down based on the market, but you're still earning more than a regular account would. How often is interest paid? Usually monthly, but it's calculated daily, so every single day counts. Can you take your money out anytime? Yes, these accounts are liquid, which means that your money is always accessible. Just be careful to check for withdrawal limits, which some banks have. So that's just something I would check before pulling your money out. So in summary, high yield savings accounts pay you way more money than regular savings accounts. They're safe, they're low risk, and they're really easy to open. They're perfect for emergency funds, short-term goals, or just holding cash that earns you a little extra. You're not going to get rich off them, but it starts by helping you build a solid foundation, which ends up leading you to real wealth down the road. Most people want to get rich, but the ones who build real wealth, well, they play a longer game. They stay consistent and they stack smart moves over time. And that starts with a simple decision like opening a high yield savings account. So if you're putting it off or didn't even know where to begin, this is your sign. Start today, pick your provider, and start automating your savings so that you can make money while you sleep. That's it from me, Alex, also known as your money friend. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.